Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Carratti and I'm the editor of Vogue Living. Welcome to our final edition of Vogue Living's 3 Days of Design, our digital series of exclusive tours and masterclasses with globally renowned design leaders. Before we begin, in the spirit of reconciliation, we want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. For our final VL 3 Days of Design experience, Athena Calderone of iSwoon will show us how to curate an amazing dining experience. Athena is a multidisciplinary creative whose work spans design and entertaining. She is fueled by a belief that beautiful food and thoughtful design brings people together and transforms those little moments into lasting memories. Athena has written 2 books, Cook Beautiful and Live Beautiful, which expand on her curated content on iSwoon. Her cookbook, Cook Beautiful, received a James Beard Award for photography, while Live Beautiful is both a showpiece of exquisite design and a guide to curating a home that is thoughtfully put together. I'm so grateful to Athena for this exclusive insight into her entertaining expertise, and we really hope that you enjoy this masterclass. And please don't forget to use the hashtag VL 3 Days of Design so we can see and share your comments and thoughts. Thank you so much for being a part of Vogue Living's 3 Days of Design.
Hi Vogue Living, Athena Calderone here. I am so excited to take part in the 3 Days of Design. My background is actually as an interior designer, and my interior design book, Live Beautiful, just came out in March. But I also had a cookbook, Cook Beautiful, come out a few years back that won a James Beard Award. And I've always straddled both design and food, and essentially anything that falls under the umbrella of the home is kind of my sweet spot. I love to make things beautiful. I love to make things delicious. I also love to make things really simple and accessible. And as we've been in quarantine these past 4 months, the home has been more essential than ever to really take appreciation for your space, what you're cooking for your family, how you're gathering together the people that you've been quarantining with. So I am so excited to make a recipe for you that is really simple but full flavored, really delicious. I went to the farm stand right here in Amagansett where I am living, and I just picked up some of the freshest seasonal vegetables I can find. So I got these beautiful purple eggplant, and I got a whole slew of herbs. I have basil, I have dill, I have mint, and I'm just going to slice these up. I'm gonna throw them on the grill. I'm gonna season them first with some olive oil, salt, pepper, and some Middle Eastern spices, because I think that's what really gives it the full flavor and makes it stand out. And then I'm just gonna toss it together with those herbs and arugula and finish it with some creamy goat cheese, and you'll see how simple it is. Let's dive in and get cooking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these eggplant and I'm going to cut them in quarters vertically. So cut them in half and then in half again. So we have these wedges. So with eggplant, it absorbs olive oil a lot. So when you drizzle it, make sure that you kind of move quickly so that it gets over all of the eggplant, because if you stay in one place, it's just going to absorb into that one eggplant. Before I put any seasoning on, I'm just gonna toss it super quickly again so that we distribute the olive oil on all the pieces. I'm gonna turn it around so I'm seeing the fleshy side of the eggplant, because that's what's going to take all of the spices and herbs. So first thing I'm gonna do is sumac. Sumac is a Middle Eastern spice. What I love about it is the color is really beautifully vibrant in this like deep crimson tone. It almost has like a lemony citrus flavor to it. A lot of people might assume that it's like paprika or has a spice to it, but there's no spice at all to sumac. It's definitely more acidic. And then I'm gonna take za'atar, which is also a Middle Eastern spice blend. It's cumin and sesame. There's actually also a little bit of sumac in there. Toss this with some sea salt and then some fresh cracked pepper. And then I am going to turn on my grill and get it piping hot, because the beauty of grilled eggplant is really when it has those gorgeous charred marks on it from the grill. So I have the grill piping hot. It's at around 450 degrees right now. I'm gonna put these on cut side down for 5 to 7 minutes about. So you have 2 cut sides. And then at the very end, I'll flip it to the skin side for 2 minutes more. All right, these guys are beautifully charred, and I'm just gonna start plating them. I'm gonna get a nice large platter, because I will say that when you plate your food, it's better to have a larger platter. It's always nicer, both in design, but also when you are food styling, to have some negative space. So I'm gonna start by putting some of the arugula at the base of the platter. And I would say that this is maybe like a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of arugula. And then I am going to just scatter these pieces of eggplant somewhat haphazardly, but always keeping the composition somewhat in mind as I place them. I am going to pop over to the fridge. I'm gonna get the goat cheese out. And I'm also gonna grab some lemon, because I always think that either zesting or putting nice teeny slivers of lemon is a really nice bright touch as you're finishing a dish. Not only on the palate is it really lovely, but even that just hint of yellow, especially on something that's so charred, is really gonna bring vibrancy all around to the dish. It wasn't really intentional, but the color theme today seems to be purple and green. I have some shiso here, which is so beautiful. It has green on one side and purple on the other. Our eggplants are purple. And then I also have this incredible Thai basil that has these beautiful little purple flowers. And I think I will adorn our dish with that, but I'll also use this when we head over to setting the table. My herbs are pre-washed. I'm gonna just take some mint and just tear it and scatter it. And you know, I always feel as though sometimes people just use herbs as a garnish, but I'm actually using the leaves as our salad. So I'm going to take the arugula and kind of mix it together with mint and with basil leaves. And here I have some dill. And if you really wanted to pre-measure, I would say maybe this would be 1/3 to 1/4 cup of fresh herbs torn. And then these are our basil leaves. Again, I'm just gonna tear them and let them fall wherever they want to fall. This is what summer cooking is all about. You don't want anything to be too precious. You don't want to have to measure everything or follow a recipe verbatim. You want to just kind of see what's the freshest, toss it all together, and let it be carefree, because that's actually at its core what summer is all about. shiso leaves. They're so pretty. I might actually leave these whole rather than tearing them just because they have such a gorgeous shape. Trying to find the smaller ones. I would say as a general rule of thumb, when you're styling food, you want things to be on the more petite side than the larger side. I really love this goat cheese because it's marinated in olive oil and there's a little bit of garlic in it, so it adds that much more flavor. But before I do that, I'm gonna slice some of this lemon rind. Come on over. So I will talk a little bit about kitchen design as I'm chopping this lemon because I have a philosophy that you should treat your kitchen as you would any other space in your home. So you'll see here in my kitchen, I have pieces of sculpture and I have a table lamp here and some vintage ceramics. Sprinkled in with my functional pieces, I also have decorative pieces. And to me, that really speaks to not only my love of design, but also my personal aesthetic, and it also triggers memories, so it feels like a personal, intimate moment in the space that I'm likely in more than any other in my home. I have 3 strips of lemon. I'm going to get my super sharp knife, slice them in the teeniest slivers that I possibly can. And if you do not feel comfortable getting these slivers extra thin as I have, you can very easily use a microplane and you could just zest the lemon. If you want, I could show you that as well because this is easier if you don't have the knife skills. So I'm literally just pulling pieces of goat cheese apart. We're going to use these super beautiful Thai basil flowers, bringing in that purple. And of course, if you can't find these are not a necessary part of the dish. I would say if you can find any flowering herbs, cilantro flowers, oregano flowers, actually dill also flowers. Dill flowers are really beautiful. Anything to kind of give like just a really pretty finishing touch. Here we have those really beautiful little slivers of lemon. And I will say that I think that having that pop of yellow really is an essential part of this dish. Sprinkle a little bit of those spices that we started with, a little bit of za'atar, a little bit of sumac, and then always at the end, some flaky sea salt. I'm gonna leave this be for right now, but right before I serve it, I will give it a drizzle of olive oil and a fresh squeeze of lemon juice. But what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna go over to the dining table and I'm gonna set the table and I'm gonna think really holistically. Think about the things that I used in this dish and carry them over onto the table. So why don't you guys follow along? All right, here we are in my dining room, and while I fully acknowledge that we're not all gathering for fanciful dinner parties, it is really nice to still kind of celebrate your home and gather with your immediate family and create a beautiful celebratory scape for yourself. So I'm going to set the table and I'm gonna just go right out into my garden and I'm gonna clip a few branches from some of the trees. I really believe that being mindful about not spending too much money right now is really important, and that you can create beauty from what is immediately available to you rather than spending money on fanciful florals. So we'll go out into my garden in a little while and we'll just pick something that is branchy and blooming. I would encourage all of you, if you can, to invest in some linen napkins. These are some of my favorite napkins because they have this beautiful texture and it also has this gorgeous frayed edge. We will use these. I've got some beeswax candles and I'm going to put them inside these very simple white ceramic candlesticks. And then I also have this runner that is almost like a gauzy linen. And I just feel that anything you set on top of your table looks that much more beautiful when it pops against white. So what I love about this is that you don't even have to worry about ironing it or making it look too perfect. You can even leave it a little bit bunched up. These are some vintage mismatched flatware that I'm going to use. And yeah, we'll just kind of set the table. We will take some of the herbs that are in our eggplant dish, as well as some beautiful little mini eggplant that I found at the farm stand, so that what we made that's going to sit on our table and what we're going to eat with our family is also what's holistically going to be on the table. I love to kind of see what is vibrant at the farm stands and actually use fruits and vegetables on my tablescape. This way, again, we're not being wasteful and we'll eventually eat it. So that's kind of a fun and vibrant way to celebrate the season, celebrate summer, and celebrate what we're gonna eat for our meal. I also love to make sure that there's something that is bringing height onto the table. So I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna take some of the herbs and some radishes and some of this mini eggplant and just pile it high on here and let it spill down onto the table. So I have these just folded vertically. I'll show you how I did it. Just take the square, fold it in half vertically again, and then fold the vertical strip in half. And then I have these pieces of leather cord that I use so often. I just got them at a simple trimming store. And I'm literally just going to pull it together and just tie a messy knot. Nothing so precious about it. Super simple, but beautiful. So I will say that I truly believe that beauty elevates the ordinary. And I always say that my motto is simple ideas thoughtfully executed. So while this scape might look kind of elevated and fanciful, it's really simple. If you just have some of the elements, if you already have the linens and you already have the candles, why not celebrate your family at home and appreciate your home? How adorable are these cute little eggplants? So eventually I'll get to cook them, but today I'm going to use them as decor. So here is that gorgeous Thai basil that we used in our meal. And I'm just going to stick it into the napkin. Stick one of these adorable little eggplants. I'm gonna go get some glasses. Let's go out into my garden and we will see what we can find to clip to either bring onto the table, or maybe we'll get something big and sculptural to put in this vessel here. So I feel as though the table is already looking so beautifully abundant just with the herbs and just with what I've already done on the table. So rather than adding flowers from the garden on the table, I've clipped a singular branch and I'm just gonna put them into this vessel. What I love so much is, you'll even see here, these were clipped back in March and I've just allowed them to dry out, and they still offer this beautiful sculptural and textural quality in the home. So I will probably take these out but save them so that I can use them another time. But I do think that for summer, having something with a bloom on it and also picking up on the purple that we found on our table and on our food will be incredibly beautiful. So just like I talked before about making sure on your platter you have some negative space, what I'm doing right now is kind of pruning away some of the leaves just so that you really appreciate the movement and it's not just one solid bushy piece. By trimming away and pruning some of the leaves, you actually get to appreciate all of the shapes that much more. So I wanted to say thank you for following along. I hope that you gained some sort of inspiration, and I hope that you are finding some joy within your home, whether that be in the kitchen or whether that be styling your space. We are all in our homes right now, so why not celebrate it and why not create some beauty?